All right. Here we go. All right, hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another video. And in this video, I want to talk about the free education that we can provide to every Catholic or every student really that wants a Catholic education in the Diocese of St. Cloud. Now, why is this possible? Okay, I'm going to present some numbers to you, and this is just going to be kind of a conversational type of video. I've got my coffee here plugged to Leah Bricks and her St. Joseph's Hammer book. Go check it out to read to your children. But I'm just going to have a little conversation with you about some numbers that I've found and why I think that my model is best. And I know that might sound like prideful, like who is this guy to come forward with a model? But I'm also going to show you that this model is being tried around the country in different dioceses, and it's proven to work. So we can carry it out here. And it would work. We could provide this education for everyone. Now, the first thing we have to realize that I talked about in a few other videos now, is that the model for Catholic education is broken. Catholic education should not look like government education. Yeah, we have compulsory education laws and we have to fulfill those requirements of the state, and that's fine. But Catholic education should go beyond, and it should look beyond college and career readiness. We are trying to provide an education that enculturates students, prepares them to live out a fully alive Catholic life, and it allows them to get to heaven, right? That's the goal of a Catholic education, is to help students know, love, and serve God so that they can get to heaven, so that they can become saints. It's not about college and career readiness. We will cover college and career readiness. That's not that big of a task. We can do that. But our aim ought to be different than government schools. And so our model should look different than government schools. So when we look at the numbers, just keep that in mind. We have to really get away from this government model of education. We have to kind of move in our own direction. And that really means we should be doing different things. The numbers, let's just dive in here. So when I look at, let's start with the numbers for a particular parish. So this is the parish financial sheet that I've been given. You can see here that I have highlighted how much this particular parish spends in their school subsidy. So this parish subsidizes the education of their children, the Catholic children registered at the parish, to go into a CCS, Catholic Community Schools organization, which is a bunch of schools in the St. Cloud metropolitan or micropolitan area. And so these funds go there, and then they pay for the schools, and they pay for the students to go there and all the things that come along with that. So this particular parish pays 26.69% of all the money that they take in, they pay to their school subsidy. So 25, let's just call it 25%. So a fourth of all of the money that they take in goes out to their Catholic schools to pay for the students and everything I just said. That amounts to, in the year 2024, 2025, it amounts to $382,723. So let's just call it $380,000, right? We'll just round down for simplicity. So a fourth of all the money this parish takes in goes out to CCS schools, or to, I'm sure it's CCS schools, but it goes for their school subsidy, and it is $382,000. That's just one parish, and in this ACC, there's actually 4 parishes. Okay, so there's 4 parishes in this ACC. But let's just say that it's just this parish, though, just because we could multiply it out and say, 380,000 here, 380,000 here, 380,000 here, 380,000 here. That'd be a lot of money, but we don't even need that much to pay for a free education for all these kids. If this parish just took in that money, allowed students and a teacher to form a micro school in their space, in their parish space, which they have a beautiful parish space, that they could meet there and they could have these things. And yeah, they'd have to arrange it around funerals and weddings. But we read I read you a passage in Mother Cabrini's biography how they formed schools in parishes and they adjusted and made it work. But with that $382,000, they could form a micro school and put it in their parish. Now, what would that look like? Well, we have models, and so I'm going to use my technology and send you to this article. This is an article. It says, it's from The Pillar, and it says, "We are fully sustainable, the rise of Catholic micro schools." And so I'm not going to read through this whole article, but I will give you a few of the highlights. The first highlight of this is that this school that they tell the story of, it was in dire straits, and so they needed a different model to stay open. They wanted to stay open. We need to want these schools to stay open and do whatever it takes to make sure that they do. And if at the end of that, we can't find a way to make it work, okay, then we've exhausted all our options and we can't find a way to make it work. But these guys adopted a different model, a micro-schooling model. And a micro-schooling model means you cut the amount of expenses. You cut the amount of electives. But you can continue to carry out your mission of giving a Catholic education. And so what they did was I've got the article right here. It says that under this new model, the number of classes was reduced from 10 to 5. Staffing was cut in half. And they had, so they cut the staffing in half. They reduced the number of classes that were offered. They don't need to have all these electives. And they actually were able to increase their enrollment through upcoming years. Because they were adopting this different model, they were able to increase their test scores because this is a proven model, this one-room schoolhouse model. It works, and it helps kids to learn because it puts, there's a lot of reasons, but it helps kids to learn. We have documented evidence of this. And it was a wonderful thing. They have a surplus now in their bank account. It says $100,000 in the bank, so it's pretty cool. So it was a good switch for not just this one school, but I think it says there's over like 20 schools in the area that have moved to this, and there's whole micro-schooling networks that have been formed. Now, at St. Joan of Arc Academy, which is the micro school that I formed here in the diocese, it's not a school. I can't call it a school because I don't have the approval of the bishop, but it was a micro academy. And so we focused on a different way of arranging a school. We had a 3-day-a-week schedule. We were primarily for homeschoolers. Well, we were for homeschoolers. And we had a one-room schoolhouse model where all the students, we had 31 students, and they were all in the same large room. And we were educating them with only myself and 2 volunteers, right? 2 parent volunteers. So we did 31 students with 1 full-time teacher and 2 volunteers. We met 3 days a week, and that was a wonderful model. And in all of the assessments, the state standardized learning assessments that homeschool students have to do, in all the ones that I saw, students were achieving well beyond grade level. So this is a micro school. This micro-schooling model works. We could put this in some of these parishes, in some of these schools, and we have the money that's coming in to these parishes. If we don't send them into institutions that are modeled after government schools, and that money just gets wasted on things that don't matter to Catholic education, then we would be able to save some of these schools and probably increase enrollment. And we'd be able to do it and not change anything, right? We'd cut staff and whatever, and okay, fine. But we have to cut staff. Like, that's okay. We're not a works program, right? We're a Catholic evangelization program. And this is how we can do that. So I just wanted to present that as just give you some real numbers. I mean, parishes take in enough money. They subsidize the education of their kids, right? So I'll say this. There's a school subsidy here, but then those students still have to pay tuition. This subsidy is enough that those students don't have to pay tuition if we change models. That's pretty cool. Now, what am I doing to solve this problem? Because I know in the last video I was like, maybe it was presented as being being negative, and I said I wasn't going to be negative. I'm not negative. This is hopeful. This is hopeful. Presenting this option is hopeful. Criticism, it's not criticism. This is like coaching. I'm telling people that there's a better way. We can keep schools open, and we need to hear that. And sometimes you need to be pushed, right? Sometimes I think in Scripture it's filled with Jesus saying hard things, with St. Paul going to St. Peter and saying hard things. It's not out of malice, but it's out of love. It's out of charity. It's out of hope and faith that we can do this. We can move mountains. We can simply adopt a different model if we have our goals and our aim correct. And so by saying all this, I'm not coming down on priests. I'm not coming down on the bishop. I'm not coming down on the administrations and all of this. I'm actually saying, hey guys, we can do this. This is a hopeful message. But do we even want to? Do we even want to do this? If we want to do it, then we'll do it. My high school football coach, he always said, if it's important to you, you do it. Jesus says, you'll know them by their fruits, right? You'll know them. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth doth speak, right? You know what people are thinking or what people are going through in their spirit because it manifests itself in the world. So if Catholic education is important to us, then we will invest in Catholic education. And we'll make videos about it. And we'll start schools. And we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we'll do whatever it takes to try to keep these schools open. So if it's important to us, we'll do it. Now, if it's not important to us, then as a diocese, if it's not important to us, then we will just close all these schools, right? And we'll just figure it out as we go. Now, that might be the way forward by the administrations that are managing these things. But lay people can take a different path. Lay people, myself, you, we can start schools. We can't call them Catholic because they won't be under the umbrella of the bishop, and that's perfectly fine. But we still have to educate our children, and so we can give them the best that the Catholic tradition has to offer in these schools. We can give them a classical education. We can do remarkable things, and we will. If nobody listens to this, no one's really listened to me prior. If no one listens to me, then that's the route we're going to have to go. We're just going to have to build these schools. Now, I'm already starting to build those schools, and I've shared that before, and I'll start talking more about that now that I've kind of gotten all this out of the way. So I'm building these schools, and if you want to join me, let's do this. Go to stcloudcatholic.com, sign up for the newsletter, watch these videos, share them, and let's push and encourage everyone that's involved with this All Things New, the bishop, the priest. Let's encourage them. Let's be hopeful for them that we can go out and renew this diocese and really go on mission. So anyway, have a wonderful day, you guys. We can do this. God bless.